Broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Here's your host, Andrew Romanella.
Okay? Like, just get the hell out of here. Nobody cares what you think if you're not a Mets fan.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on YouTube and X. I'm your host, Andrew Romanella. I got you for the next 30 and change, and it is a hump day. Yay. And we got some hump day headlines for you. We got 32 teams in 32 days and the return of the one and only Rocky Romanella for Rocky's Roundup. So we got a jam-packed hump day Wednesday for the people. Let's get into the pleasantries before we start the fun stuff on the show today. The Rome Show 1, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, whatever it is that you follow, you should follow us on that. A friendly reminder to the people that the Rome Show 1, you can follow everywhere. What you need to now do is go to youtube.com and you need to subscribe to the Romanellas starting September 2nd. That would be Tuesday next week. The Rome Show will be broadcasting live on the Romanellas YouTube. So make sure you head over there and subscribe. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a few different things to get into here before one Rocky Romanella joins us. We are going to talk AFC North football. That is correct. AFC North. We're going to continue on there with the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's get our music going, and we'll talk 32 teams in 32 days before Rocky joins us. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. Cincinnati Bengals, led by Joe Burrow, finished 2024 with a 9-8 record. And boy, was it quite the up and down. Okay? Here's the deal. The Bengals started last season at 0-3. Then they went to 1-4. 12 games in, they were 4-8. Not good if your team that won 2 years earlier was in the Super Bowl and then on top of that believed that they should be a Super Bowl contender. That didn't happen, okay? Well, they finished the year back end with 5 straight W's. Exactly where they expected to be and the type of team they expected to be. So they finished 9-8 and only one game out of the playoffs. Problem here for the Cincinnati Bengals is not Joe Burrows and Jamar Chase and what their relationship is like, and are they going to be able to handle whatever they think they need to handle going into this year's that's not their issue. Because these two dudes, regardless of what the outside noise shows, have been elite level football players in their time together in Cincinnati. So the two of them, they're going to connect. The offense in Cincinnati, it's going to roll. If there's one thing that's been proven since Joe Burrow's been in the league and Zach Taylor's been the head coach, is this team can ball on offense. Last season, they were number 1 in the league in passing yards per game at 289.3 and number 6 in the league in points per game at 27.8. And at one point in time, they were 4-8. So there's only really one thing you need to look at here for this Cincinnati Bengals team, at least the biggest thing, and that's their defense, which was atrocious last season. And that comes on the heels of Trey Hendrickson getting a $14 million pay raise for this season and finally fully rejoining the team and having 17 and a half sacks in 2024. 31st in yards per game total. 25th in points per game, 25 and a half. 29th in pass yards per game and 28th in rush yards per game. So I got 4 keys for the Bengals because I think their season is super easy to determine, okay? First and foremost, one, most important key, rebuild defense. How good's it going to be, okay? 4 rookies were added to either the defensive line or the linebacking core for this Bengals team to retool this defense, plus a plethora of other things that were done. Number 2, better running game. Though the offense of the Bengals is very good, they're very one-dimensional. I want to say they were the 28th ranked rushing offense last year with Chase Brown running for 990 and 7 TDs. That 30th and 92 and a half per game. That's got to be better, okay? Again, your passing game can be elite, and it could be the best in the league, but you cannot be a one-dimensional football team, or you're not winning Super Bowls, or you're not reaching the levels with which you want to reach if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. 3, first 6 weeks of the season. You cannot start 0-3 and 1-4 if you're the Bengals. I'm sorry, that might sound like the easiest key to any season in the history of time, but that's the truth. That is the truth. You cannot start that way if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. And then finally, their schedule's not that hard, so they have the ability to get better. I got the Bengals as a wild card team this year, and I got them at 10-7. Look through their schedule. First few games are against pretty easy opponents, so I think they could get off to at least a 2-0 start, and then from there we shall see. 32 teams, 32 days. The Cincinnati Bengals. We got to write in. Ryan Tompkins writes in, Bengals defense stinks. O-line is trash. Listen, Bri, I got to agree with you there. 100%. Now, they've tried to retool the offensive line, and even with a semi-decent offensive line at best, they're still awesome throwing the football. But that, Mr. Tompkins, is where the running game comes into play. Why is their running game second or third worst in the league? Well, because your offensive line isn't good enough. And I'm sure if you look back on why the passing numbers were so inflated last year for the Bengals, it might be because they were poor in the first 12 games of the season. But in the same breath, you're not going to go from a top 5 passing attack to a bottom 5 passing attack in one season. And if that does happen, Zach Taylor and everyone else associated with him is most likely getting fired. You must have been, something must have gone seriously wrong at the quarterback position, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? Bengals, 10-7, wild card team. That is my prediction. All right, quick commercial break. Come back. Rockies Roundup here on The Rome Show. YouTube, X. Subscribe to The Romanellas on YouTube. Back after this.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
That's right.
With your host, Andrew Romanella.
That's me. When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere. All right, welcome back into the Rome Show here. 12-ounce sports for the next 3 days. The Romanella's on YouTube for the next history of time. We've been breaking down the AFC North, 32 teams
With
in 32
your host,
days. It's been a lot of fun. If you missed that on the front end of this show, find the Rome Show podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. Just search the Rome Show podcast. We've got 9 teams remaining. I know, wild, right? 9 teams remaining and 8 days until National Football League season kicks off next Thursday. So we got to get ready, okay? My fantasy draft next Tuesday. We wait a little bit of time in our league. I don't know about you, the people, and when your fantasy drafts are. All right, let's get going here. Rockies Roundups. Let's get started. Now, inside the glass, hockey with Rocky. That's not it.
It's not now for a couple weeks. We're on horseback and we're riding through the plains, rounding up our cattle. Yeehaw.
Listen, we made the adjustment this year to make it a combo segment. You know, it's not hockey for 12 months out of the year, but due to the current technical state of the Rome Show and hopefully your sponsors coming in soon, we'll be able to make Rocky a second intro. Did you like the new Rome Show intro though?
Love the new Rome Show intro. I like the logo. I like the dancing. You look great. You look great out there.
Well, thank you. Some updates as we get ready for subscribing to the Romanellas on YouTube starting September 2nd. So what do you got for us today, Rock? How you doing on this hump day?
I'm doing good. I'm in my new Meta AI glasses, so I could record this conversation if I wanted to with just a touch of a button, which is awesome. I look like Dexter's Laboratory is what I've decided. Or the dude from the Six Flags commercials. I don't know which one. I've got 3 things for you on the roundup.
All right.
I got NASCAR, I got flag football, and then I got the Mets.
All right. Start with NASCAR because we ended your segment last week, if I remember correctly, talking about the new NASCAR schedule that they unveiled for 2026.
And now in 2025, the playoffs are officially set. We have our 16 drivers. Just an incredible race, wire to wire in Daytona on Saturday night this past week, where we saw Ryan Blaney become victorious in the last lap from 13th to 1st in the last 2 laps. A lot of bumping and grinding out there, a lot of rubbing, because that's racing. But big playoff implications as Alex Bowman was able to make it into the round of 16. So we now have 16 drivers, and we are officially in the NASCAR playoffs.
Is there a favorite here for the NASCAR playoffs right now? And is it like golf where everyone starts even? I mean, obviously their position is slightly different, and then you race the races, or is it the point system stays based on the regular season and then it fluctuates from there?
Point system is actually carried over from the regular season. Our drivers are ranked 1 through 16. There's already a cut line after driver 12. So four races are eliminated after 4 races. So
wow.
or 3 races and then they're eliminated, which is great. And right now, you've got Kyle Larson and William Byron, who are the points leaders, both Hendricks drivers, both had really good years. Denny Hamlin seeking his first ever Cup Series title.
That's a big story. He's a big story because he's been a name for a minute in racing, and he has yet to win the big one.
He's like 21 years in NASCAR, rubbing hard. You got Ryan Blaney. You got Ryan Blaney, who won the Cup Series 2 years ago. Big win, really strong finish to the year. So those are your top 4 Christopher Bell seeking his first Cup Series. Big name actually is SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen,
Is he the
ranked
dude
number
that came from
6.
IndyCar? That's not him, is it?
Yeah, no, he came from the Indy circuit. He's been on the Cup Series for the last 3 years, really only winning street races. Although this year he won 4 races.
An all left-handed turn race? Wow.
I don't know if he actually won a turn race, but he ran well. He ran well a couple weeks ago. So, those are your top. Those are rounding out your top 6 right now. So Joey Logano, who won last year, is in the 12th, and Joey Logano snuck into the playoffs last year and then won the series. So you can never count him out. But my eyes are on Denny Hamlin or one of the Hendricks guys, Larson or Byron. Byron looking for his first.
And your playoff racing starts this Sunday at Darlington Raceway. If you were wondering what Rocky was talking about when the playoffs get started, it's all Saturdays and Sundays, a lot of Sundays, a few Saturdays mixed in there, up until November 2nd. So you got 2 months of NASCAR postseason starting this Sunday. Rocky, what else you got?
I got flag football, Rajon Rondo.
I did not have that on my bingo card.
Well, it's actually not. It's actually not for but I saw this, but Rajon Rondo, former NBA star, now ranked number 1 flag football QB. Now, there's a lot of speculation if this is real, so which I've done some research on. No one really knows if it's real, but there's some YouTube clips of him playing some backyard flag football, and he looks sick.
Stop that. So you wait. I have so many questions. Okay, first off, is this a pro flag football league, or are we talking like Team USA for the Olympics in a few years?
No, literally, supposedly he's ranked the top flag football quarterback in the United States. There are some unofficial claims. There are some official claims. No one really knows if this is accurate or not.
All right.
But USA Flag Football is reaching out to figure out if he's actually really good.
Wait, this is unbelievable. Okay, so then that answers that question because it's a guess for the Olympics, right?
And so the reason I brought up flag football though is because I am now assistant coach flag football here at Victor Schools.
Yeah, that's a
Blue
big
Devils.
Development. This is why Rocky's Roundup schedules changed a lot recently, because the flag football two-a-days have really taken a hit on his scheduling time.
I've now been a coach at 3 practices, and I'm loving it. And there is, football is, one of those things where I love but have never truly understood.
Sure.
But I think the thing that is is the nuance of drilling. You have to drill plays.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to get now that I'm trying to figure out how to get someone to remember how to just do a run to the right, I'm dude, what they say on the line is literal gibberish.
Yeah.
It is it's a whole new language.
And the funny part is you're talking about 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds.
I'm thinking, well, right now I'm all right, run to the right is going to be Lenny, because it's actually the left back that's lining up who's getting the ball. So I think I don't know. Listen, I'm assistant coach. I'm not going to overstep. Yeah. All I know is that when I run my station, I had the kindergartens running lights out plays last night, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Lenny on two.
Let's go, Rudy.
Oh,
I think it's just, right. Well, you have to come up with good names for them to remember.
Yes. I can already hear ours. Right. So the way our play calls went in high school, it was left, meaning which side the play was going to be designed to look like it was going, and then the play. So it was left, veer, right on 2. So it was a left side setup. The play was veer, so the fullback was getting the football, and then the right was we're running right. So the amount of times, and you're so right about this, because it gives you a real appreciation for football players, because they're not just learning to play the sport. They're memorizing playbooks. Yeah. It's like the worst SAT you've ever thought of on steroids, right? And the amount of times in a preseason, it's all right, Andrew, right, veer, left on 1. And I'm sitting there in my 3-point stance. I'm all right, right, veer, left on 1, right, veer, left on 1. And then you just run right and the whole play goes left. And you're man, I messed that one up. And it's difficult. There's so much going on in the brain playing sports. And then you add in the fact that I need to remember not just plays, Rocky.
Yeah.
Words with plays. It's a very difficult concept.
It's not easy, but then I take it to the next level because Tony Romo will be sitting in the booth, obviously have no idea the playbook that he's calling the game on, but know exactly what the play is and then tell you what he called it. And
Right.
you're like, all right, so every play is the same. They just call them different things.
Yes. There's got 75% of the playbook for every National Football League team has to be the same. And then after that, it all gets changed in the verbiage. So that's funny. We're going to need updates. We're going to need updates on the, what are they called? The Victor Vikings, the Victor Blue Devils?
No, we're K2 Gold. That's our, we're the Gold Squad. Where the Gold Squad had to cut Rock's. We had to cut Rock's flags a little low because he was tripping over them because he's like so short.
That's so good. Oh, that's so good. All right. So look forward to the next, I guess, probably 10 weeks on my guess is, Rocky, 10 to 12 weeks of a season.
Yep.
Next 10 to 12 weeks.
We opened up the coaches chat last night. I just wrote Lombardi trophy or bust. So we all know that we're on the same page.
We all know what we're playing for here. You'll get your weekly updates on the Victor K2 Gold Blue Devils flag football team every Rockies roundup from here on out. Beautiful. What else you got there?
Since we talked about the Mets, like having to overtake the Phillies or catch the Cubs, I have been locked in on the Mets. And
man.
We're loving the battle out of the Metropolitans over the last 7 days.
Dude, I got to be honest with you. I agree. So I wrote down on the top of my sheet today for any of the headlines that I have that we might go over. The Mets have neutralized their season, Rocky.
Yes.
And for anyone that might want to be like, are you sure? Well, take a look at the wild card standings really quickly. The National League is on the bottom of your standings. When Rocky and I talked about this team, just 1 week ago, okay, the Mets were a half game up on the Cincinnati Reds for wild card spot number 3, and it felt like any spot but 3 or out of the postseason, it was a far-fetched thought. Now you look at it and you go, okay, they're a half game back of the 3.5 game backs of the Chicago Cubs, 5 back of the Phillies in the division, and they have a 3.5 game lead on the Cleveland. I almost said it, Rocky, but it's the Guardians.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like that was a really quick turnaround? Is it too early to get excited, or is this actually who they are moving forward?
No, it's you have to get excited. I mean, we were talking last week about the remainder of the schedule and that you had to start making your push now. Like if you were going to take, like you had to take 5.5 back just to get into the second wild card spot, and you were 6.5 back from the Phillies, and now you're looking at yourself, you're head to head versus the Phillies in the 3-game bout. And if you sweep them tonight, right, you're only 4 back, and then you're playing the Padres again, you're playing the Cubs again, and you still got another 4-game stint in Philadelphia. Like, I don't see how you're not excited and you're like, okay, this is the turn we needed to make. And based on our conversations even before last week, the statistic that stands out to you the most over the last 2 weeks is that they are the best scoring team when hitting with 2 outs. So they're the best 2-out producing team in the baseball over their last 55 plate appearances. And when we were talking about not being able to hit in the clutch with runners in scoring position, like that's your indicator that you're still good. And by the way, they blew the lead last night. They blew the save.
Yeah.
So you blow a save.
I think.
You blow a save and then you still win. That's the type of resiliency you need to win in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I got to agree with you on that because I watched a lot of last night's game, and like as Rocky mentioned, Mets won last night 6-5 on a walk-off, and if they win today, they sweep the Phillies, which is just gigantic comparative to where we were last week when they were losing 2 of 3 to the Washington Nationals, and the resilience is it. Right? Like, and I thought about this as they were all dumping water on Nimmo's head, and they were all, or Jeff McNeil, whoever hit the walk, I think it was Nimmo, all exciting stuff. And in my mind, I said, man, this is just a long season, bro. I think that was game 132. Like, you're still 30 games away from this thing ending. Like we were on the flip side of this with the Phillies one time in our life where the Mets had a 9-game lead at this point and they somehow didn't win the division. So I just think it's a friendly reminder, though us talking radio heads might freak out sometimes, or others might, or the fanship might. You get into those, what they call the dog days of summer. Yeah, you know what? it sometimes it is going to define your team. Look at the San Francisco Giants. Look at the St. Louis Cardinals. Look at the Angels. Every year Mike Trout's ever been in the uniform there. But for other teams, you get through the dog days of summer, and it was merely just a blimp on your schedule. And I think, Rocky, that could be it for the Mets.
Yeah, and it's ironic. And if you look across the metropolitan, if you look across the boroughs, right, at a better winning percentage and in a better playoff position, the Yankees feel 10 times worse than the Mets feel.
Yeah, I agree. And I felt all year with that, though. I talked about the Yankees a little bit last week. I just feel like, and this is, I don't know, Rocky, a very simple way to put it. What we thought the Yankees would be and what their deficiencies would be are exactly what they are. And I almost feel like that's why we feel worse about them going forward. You know what I'm saying?
It's like both teams are hanging on to, like, the Yankees are hanging on to a collapse, whereas the Mets are hanging on to a breakout.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the last few days for the Yankees was huge. And I think them benching Anthony Volpe was an important step. I think sometimes not just for the fan base, but for the locker room. Like, sometimes you're looking around the locker room and you're like, man, this guy has not been very good. And a team makes a decision like that down the stretch when it's supposed to be your franchise shortstop. It sends a message to the boys. Like, hey, we better clean this thing up, because if the guy they drafted in the first round 5 years ago to be quote unquote Derek Jeter's replacement is finally getting his leash cut, all of us could get our leash cut that isn't named Aaron Judge. So let's get our ish together.
Dude, speaking of A-Rod and Jeter, I mean, those are the guys that are calling for it. They're like, this is ridiculous. This is not the Yankees. This isn't the Yankees culture. We don't allow mental mistakes like this. And if you have one, you sit on the bench.
So let me ask you this question, because I posed this question to the entire listenership last week or 2 weeks ago on the Rome Show, Rocky. And if you missed it, the Rome Show 1, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, just go follow the social media and you'll find what I'm talking about. I asked the people, okay, is it a good mindset to have to be championship or bust? Because I heard an interview with Patrick Mahomes where Mahomes stated, well, it's only a successful year if we win the Super Bowl. And in my mind, I went back to the New York Yankees, late 90s, early 2000s, when they were at the height of being the greatest franchise in any professional sport. It started to be deemed that it was championship or bust. And now 25 years later, because the franchise is going to keep going on and those players can't keep winning, it's just not possible. You look back and you go, did that mindset hurt your franchise? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do. I think, I think as a kid, I thought I always cheered for the underdog, but like I much more cheer for the dynasty now than ever before, because as you get into, and hey, maybe this is a topic on the Romanella channel for Life After Sports there.
Leaders,
there's your teaser for you.
Yeah. And by the way, before Rocky goes on, make sure you subscribe to the Romanellas on YouTube for our September 2nd launch of the Rome Show. Go ahead.
There you go. So, but I think now that as an adult, you get into your professional life and you realize, like, you don't really, like, I live in a world where I'm not allowed to lose, right? My whole job is about winning, right? And every year it's like, okay, now you have to get better. Now you have to get better. Now you have to get better. So I'm much more interested in learning from those who are dynasties than I am learning from those who are one-timers, because I'm like, I need to be successful as a dynasty. So, it's funny, the championship or bust thing. You look at Patrick Mahomes, and he's literally, you win or bust. And by the way, you have to be that way, because if you enter the season, I hope we just make the playoffs. Well, what are you really aiming for? Now, if you're championship or bust and you lose in the AFC championship game, it's a lot easier for you to look positively about your season than if you were just playing for the playoffs and then you lost in the first round. Now, and the comparison here is tough, and I'm sorry to my Bills compatriots, but in episode 1 of Hard Knocks, Sean McDermott walks into the room to have a meeting. The first thing I notice is he's wearing a t-shirt that says playoff caliber. And in my opinion, he's selling himself short and his team short and his organization short by that t-shirt not saying championship caliber.
Agreed, man. I agree with that, because you have to start acting like it or believing it before you become it. And you've been
playoff caliber. We know you're playoff caliber
for 5 years.
You need to elevate to championship caliber.
I agree. Now, let me ask you this question, though. Okay, let's play this out. The Buffalo Bills do what the Buffalo Bills did in the 90s, early 90s, late 80s, but except they win 3 of the 4 Super Bowls they go to. Okay. Are you a fan of them walking in it and the shirt then says championship or bust?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I just
There's
think it's
nothing
a dangerous line.
Watch the documentary a couple years ago.
It's
Nick
the
Saban,
season of failure. That's a better way to ask.
Nick Saban, Bill Belichick. Okay. Nick Saban is,
Great
and they
documentary.
say, hey, listen, you win the championship, you get to the mountain, you become the mountain. You can't get any better than winning again if you've just won. There is no other way to get better as a professional athlete or a team than to go back to back. So you have to have that mindset. It's not a question of is it right or wrong. If you don't think that way, you're already worse than you were the year before.
That's a great point. You're 100% right. I guess I just feel, and this semantics maybe, that believing a season is a failure because you didn't win a championship is also a difficult place to be if you are a consistent championship winning organization.
Yeah, but at the beginning of the year, why would you give yourself an excuse?
Oh, I agree. I talk more about where the Chiefs are now, where you look back for the last 6 years, they've won 3 Super Bowls, and you walk into that locker room, and yes, it is to win a championship. There's no other mindset, but to vocalize that to your fan base as the starting quarterback or as somebody that is like, listen, I think this season's a failure if we don't win the championship. Well, you're not going to for the next 100 straight years. So it's a tough line to put.
Here's what I don't like about the Chiefs. Okay. Here's what I don't like about it.
If you want, by the way, we broke them down in the 32 teams in 32 days Rome Show podcast.
No, this is purely, you had a great breakdown, by the way, but this is purely championship thing.
No, go.
I don't want a documentary on your dynasty until it's complete and it's 10 years past.
Okay, so maybe
why
that's
am I? I didn't even turn it on. I'd rather watch Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I agree though.
Why? ESPN, why? You are so desperate for content that you can't go give me HBO's doing Hard Knocks on the Bills. Why don't you go do the Bills dynasty?
Yeah.
Why?
So maybe my issue is less about the mindset and more about hearing about it while it's going on. Exactly. I'd rather hear about it 20 years later.
Dude, I mean,
you've convinced me. Listen. For 34 years, he's been my older brother, and it's taken a lot. It takes a lot for him to convince me. If we disagree, it's usually over. I disagree. He disagrees. There's really no getting on the same page. Today, though, I feel like I have been convinced because when I think about it, I tell my team every day, like we are acting like champions every day. But I guess it's the idea of acting like and doing that, and then the other idea of coming out and straight up saying we are failures if this one singular thing doesn't happen, which is a very difficult thing to put on your fan base.
I got one more thing to even get you over the top on this.
Okay? All right, let's finish up here. This is great. This is good.
You're a brand new college coach. Okay. There's two of you. You're the same person. One of you goes and learns from an organization that is always in the playoffs, always contending for the championship. That's right. One of you goes and works for a university that just doesn't win, and they're always on the rebuild. Okay. Which one of you becomes a better coach faster?
Oh man. I mean, I would guess it would be the one that's in the winning organization because he's seeing how winning's happening.
And because what winning organizations teach you is what it means to be a role, what it means to what it means to be detail oriented, what it means to play your part. In the losing organization, you're talking about like, oh, we should do this better. We should do this better. I don't like why we're running this play. This is why we're losing all the time. And so you're learning from dysfunction, hoping that you're going to dig out of it. Whereas I start and I'm learning from winners. Well, I'm going to know what it takes to win. Right. So championship caliber is, you can't be over the top on your disappointment level, but it is also about how you approach every day.
That makes so much sense. And I get it. And, I think maybe I looked at it differently because I listen to the Yankees fan tune into the radio every day and complain about a team that's made the playoffs in like 15 of the last 17 years. And I'm like, how are you mad at your org? I get you want to win a championship every year, but how is one, you think back and you go, well, when I was 15 and 16, the only thing being preached was championship or bust. And the crazy part was they were doing it. If you were a Patriots fan for 20 years, they were doing it. So that's also the hard part for the Yankees fan or the Pats fan or probably a Chiefs fan moving forward is when you live it for a decade plus, you don't, that is the mindset. That is the type, what your franchise, your fan base believes. So it's fine. I just listened to Patrick Mahomes talk about the other day. I asked the people, and then I was like, I got to get Rocky's opinion on this because I feel like, yeah, it should be the mindset, but it's just a tough standard to set for your franchise because then the fan base jumps onto that. And then all of a sudden you're a good football team, but you get zero appreciation because you're only 11-6 and losing the second round of the playoffs instead of every time hosting the Lombardi Trophy.
Yeah, the only difference is that in Kansas City, when the Chiefs lose in the Super Bowl, their fan base is the ones picking them up, whereas in New York, It's their fan base who's destroying them.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point because it might just be the franchise. It depends on where you are.
I mean, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, you're gonna get people will run you out of New York versus support you before. Like, it's just crazy.
Rocky, this has been a fantastic show. Would you like me to tell you the good news while you're on the show, or would you like me to tell you the good news while you're off the show? Want the good news live?
Yeah.
Okay. Since the show's inception in 2019, so I guess that's 6 years, 7 years, 6 years, 6 years, 6 years. Rocky has been a staple on the show. For a little bit, he was an actual, consistent co-host. For a while, he had just dove in whenever he felt like he was available. And for a while, we had the Rome Squared podcast, which was kind of funny. And we did it at Rocky's kitchen table. But today, the last 2 years, the Rome Show has taken the iteration that it is now. And like I've been saying, you must subscribe to the Romanellas on YouTube so you can keep watching this iteration of the Rome Show. But Rocky has now been a part of history in all levels of the Rome Show. Today marks the most listeners we have ever had in the history of the Rome Show live. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
Rocky,
go.
Can you guess that number?
Live.
I'll give you 3 guesses. Okay.
116.
Incorrect.
75.
You want to do this like hot or colder type deal? Like, how do you want to do this?
75.
Higher.
98.
Higher.
150.
Are you ready for me to tell you?
Yeah.
Or you want one more guess?
No, just tell me.
Our record-breaking day was 496.
I wasn't even close.
How about that? Well, it just dropped to 495, so someone must have been annoyed that we were celebrating. That is awesome. Rocky,
Yeah, let's go.
how about that? A part of the greatest day live in Rome Show history. And to think, to let you behind the curtain, it was a little bit of a mess for us before the show started because Rocky couldn't hear my volume. We were trying to text each other. If anyone noticed, I put up the AFC North breakdown of the Steelers and the Browns, but I talked about the Bengals. So, hey, listen, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. But either way, I thought keep Rocky on here because I just wanted to say thank you because that is so cool. And you don't get the opportunity to look and see that while you're live. And I just want to thank the people. Let's keep this thing going because I think we're trending in the right direction. Okay. And of course, weekly, you're going to get the roundup and hockey with Rocky. So even if you tune in once a week and you keep breaking records every time Rocky's on, I'm cool with it. But Rock, how cool is that?
Dude, so cool. Proud of you, proud of the show. And somewhere out there, there's a Cyclone and a Chanticleer that are smiling, and we appreciate all those people.
Those dudes are literally the reason that we are here. Last thought, Rock, before you get out of here.
Let's rock. Go Mets. LGM.
LGM, Rocky Romanella, everybody. We'll give him his music on his way out as well as his music on the way in. We appreciate Rocky every single week. He tunes into the Rome Show and gives us his insight. Not just because he's my brother, honestly, one of the best hockey guys around. I have a lot of people in my life that tell me that when we get to hockey season, bananas are put down on the things that Rocky says about the National Hockey League. Thank you to everybody listening to the Rome Show. I really appreciate it. We're back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. We continue football. We continue the hot topics, and we continue to hopefully give you a fun and engaging show. Back tomorrow. Have an electric day. Andrew Romanella. Peace.
Thank you for listening.